Yes. Oh, I think I heard a wave. Sorry. Sorry. We had everything. Okay.
Okay.
So let's get started with our second talk, creating way to cover focus. The speakers Chen and Yael Greenberg, and today Zhuang gives the talk now. So
thank you very much for the introduction, and this is a joint work between me and Yael Greenberg. So the talk is about one of the most famous, or perhaps it's articles in Mandarin Chinese. Yeah, it's often translated in English even more, and some claim to say they're could have even multiple in some senses. So let us go straight to the theme we are going to investigate. Yeah, this is a typical type of data that has been studied in the literature. So basically, it's a geng combination with readable adjectives. So as you can see, just look at this number one, Bill and John geng talk. So without geng, there's no evaluated inference that both Bill and John are tall. And it's widely observed, and this is also an old observation. If we have geng here, we have an evaluated inference. That is like both Bill and John are tall. So basically combined with gradable adjectives, geng figures a comparative rating plus evaluated inference. And also, look at sentence number two here. John is tall, Bill geng tall. So here we have no phrase that introduces a comparative standard. Still, we have a comparative rating plus evaluated inference. It feels like Bill is taller than some context-free salient individual, that is John here. The question is, what is the semantics of geng? So there are some proposals in the literature. We just focus on Liu here because this might be the most sophisticated study so far in the formal syntax semantics literature. So basically, Liu claims geng is a comparative marker with an evaluated explanation. So if you look at the next entry proposed, so basically geng combines with one individual, another individual, and we have a gradable predicate. So crucially, it presupposes both X and Y must have some degree about the norm associated with the gradable predicate. And if this presupposition is defined, then it simply asserts Y has higher degree than X on the P-scale. And Liu's proposal, just like other proposals existing in the literature, all share one important common with each other. That is, they assume the existence of a gradable predicate in the syntax. That is to say, geng has to comply with some gradable predicate. Yeah, but this is a challenge. So the challenge is from Liu himself. He gave the following data, but left it for future study. So you can see geng can comply with non-gradable predicates. I just read the English here. The school teachers pick graphs, and resident even takes cascade. So you can see geng combines with non-gradable predicates. And also another piece of data from game and our translation. The two guys, one guy hit persons, and the other guy even killed persons. So again combines with non-gradable predicate. So we make two comments here. In such cases, just like what we saw in the previous slides, geng is often translated in English even, and it's also paraphrasable with the default idiom Mandarin, that is Chen here. And our research question in the talk is, what is the semantics of geng? And more specifically, actually have two sub-questions. Number one, how to capture geng's combination with non-gradable predicates. And this is the type of data that has been left for future study, and we picked it up here. And the question is, Can those combination with non-gradable and gradable predicates be unified? So do we need to have two separate treatments for one for gradable cases or one for non-gradable cases? So this is basically our research question. And two anticipates. So we will argue in the remaining part of the talk. So to capture those combination with non-gradable predicates, going actually even like scalar particle, especially in the sense of Greenberg. And then the question, how can our proposal capture the gradable cases? We will show if we adopt some independently motivated assumption in the literature, we can easily extend our proposal, committed by our observation, just like three, this is the sentence we saw just earlier. So the two guys, one get hit person, and the other guy even killed a person. You can see there's no gradable predicate that includes the dimension of comparison. Still, intuitively, it's very strong. We have a comparison. So that is between the two guys. Let's say how dangerous they were. Yeah, this is a major motivation to have a unified account. So if we will claim that there is a uniformly even like scalar particle, then we will have a follow-up question. If we have enough time, I will cover this part. It's going to be even like why does it become disconnected from the default even in Mandarin, that is Chen. And we will argue they actually differ with respect to two parameters that has been identified in the literature, and these parameters are argued to be those that even particles cross-linguistically differ from each other. Yeah, this is basically the whole story. So let's go to the first part, the so-called non-gradable cases. Just be reminded, going to calculate English even is part gradable by Shenji, the default even in Mandarin. We have to follow the intuition and sharpen the intuition by making two similarities. So the first similarity about singularity basically means the particle hosting population is stronger than causality. This is the hallmark feature of scalar particles. Yeah, and we observe this is also the case for geng. This is demonstrated in the contrast between the original sentence and the 5. So basically, of the two guys person and the other guy killed a person. We have hitting someone and killing someone. If we try to switch the predicates, like what we do in 5, of the two guys, one killed person and the other guy hit person, this is bad. So gun is bad, and the default even memory is bad. English is also bad here. This shows gun, just like this other particles, require the hosting population, like hit, like killing, must be stronger than the previous alternative. I mean, so this is scalar property. And then the second similarity that matters to us is what we call the evaluated difference. Actually, this should come as no surprise because we saw in the earlier slides the gun trigger evaluated difference in the critical cases. So this basically means both particle hosting population and its alternative indicate a degree about the norm on a certain scale. So this is illustrated in 6. Of them, 1 touched the person lightly, and the other guy even killed that person. So touching someone lightly, especially if you add some particle like only here, only touch the person lightly, it indicates touching someone lightly is nothing serious, does not really make one dangerous. And in this case, just like changing against with even is bad. This would indicate that even and gun change require both hosting population is alternative, like be about some norm on some scale. Yeah, these are two major similarities in the next class. So we'll follow the intuition and propose that going actually even like scalar particle. The question is how to model it more specifically. There are many proposals for English even, and we show 2. The first is the so-called canonical one, the likelihood-based account. And second, then we show Greenberg-based account. Yeah, let's start to look at it in more detail one by one. So this is a likelihood-based account. So this is expert entry adopted by many in the literature cross-linguistically. Basically, it has a crucial explanation. That is the predictability is less likely than all the distinct contextually relevant for targeting populations. If this explanation is defined, then it simply asserts predictive truth. This entry can be used to capture data like B here. B even want the golden arrow. So gold is focused here, and we possibly have some alternative like B1. is assertion. I mean, so the first issue is about the scale. So it's argument actually equal to storage, but there is no both John and Bill can choose. John 1.7 meter tall is 0.9, and the height has nothing to do with height like is here. What matters is actually the ability or suitability of the two guys to get the hatch. So the distance can be easily translated with go into Mandarin. That's the same issue. The critical issue is about the so-called evaluative inference. So the likely basically comes simply to nothing about the issue. Just be reminded of the similarity too. Yeah, we show the sentence of the two one touch the person likely, and the other guy even killed the person. So even just demonstrate require both alternative that is alternative to be higher than some norm. But the likely basically comes with nothing on this. Some may argue this might be derived, but we have some papers that show this cannot be derived actually. Given such issue, we turn to another alternative proposal. That is this is just another piece of data demonstrating the point. I'll give the slide. This is Greenberg's proposal. So it's called degree-based accounts. So her proposal had basically 4 components. The scale, yeah. She argued the scale that if operates on is not necessarily likely that is associated with the context trace applied grade of property G. And then we have a comparative presupposition. So some non-focused item, for example, the contrast topic in the adjacent leading the hosting sentence has a higher degree on this particular G scale in the keywords where the adjacent host, then in the accessible alternative Q and not keywords. That is the words where the adjacent does not have its alternative population code. Then we have an evaluative presupposition. And this particular non-focused item has a degree about the norm on the given G scale in the accessible Q and not keywords. And thanks to the comparative presupposition, where the non-focused item is higher on the G scale, so it's also about the norm in the keywords as well. This is basically evaluative presupposition. If the two presuppositions are defined, then it's simply is true. Yeah, that's like the canonical account. So her proposal can nicely capture two properties we want to capture about them: comparison and evaluative inference. We will just adopt the proposal. So this is a formalization, just a formalized version of what I said in the previous slide. I'll skip it. I just put on this part. So this is going. So C just the set of context to relevant for early compositions and adjacent word evaluation. And we have the context tree offered gradable predicate, and we have the non-focused item X here. Yeah, and the comparative explanation, evaluative explanation. Yeah, basically repetition. And the comparative explanation that X non-focused item more G in the rows in X is Q and not rows. The evaluative explanation X is plus G about the norm in the X is Q and not rows. And thanks to the comparative explanation, X is also plus G in the P rows. Yeah. If we apply this entry to our sentence, let's do this one. Well, then 100 persons and the other guy or even 2 persons. And we assume G, the context to offer the gradable predicate, is something like how dangerous the 2 guys were. And then we have the formalization here. I'll just read the proposed version. So the comparative presupposition basically says the other guy was more dangerous in the keywords where he killed persons. The accessible alternative rows, Q and not Q rows, where he hates but didn't kill persons. And evaluative presupposition that the other guy was most dangerous in the accessible Q and not Q rows. Given the comparative presupposition, this one, he was more dangerous than in the Q and not Q rows, so he was most dangerous in the Q rows. We have both evaluative inference and comparative flavor. And if the two presuppositions are defined, it simply asserts the other guy killed persons. This is nice. This is nice because we can automatically capture the inferences we spoke about. So of the two 1% of the guy even hit person. This is bad because it violates the comparative presupposition. And also the sentence, one guy touched the person lightly and the other guy even killed the person. This is also bad because touching someone lightly is perhaps not dangerous enough. It violates the evaluating presupposition. So at this point, we basically claim the proposal captures the non-gradable cases. Then the question is, how about the gradable cases? Just be reminded of the data we want to capture. So 1B, Bill is even taller than Zhuang, and 2, Zhuang is tall, Bill is even taller. So with or without the phrase that introduce comparison standard, we have a comparative rating plus evaluative inference. So how to capture this type of data? I think we prefer a unified code because they are very similar to non-gradable cases. Just as indicated in the table, both gradable and non-gradable cases have some evaluative inference and have some comparative flavor. Perhaps they differ with respect to the scale we operate on. For gradable cases, Bill is even taller than Zhuang, we have some lexically coded scale. But for non-gradable cases, hitting someone versus hitting someone, the scale is contextually supplied. But in general, they're overlapping. I mean, it prevail. Yeah. So if we prefer unified account, the question is how. This is our proposal. So we propose that geng associative agent covert comparative operator count. Let me just explain. So we will adopt two independently motivated assumptions in the literature. A, the existence of a covert comparative operator count in Mandarin, and B, associated with covert focus. Let's look at it just one by one in more detail. This part is more interesting. So there are many observations in favor of the claim that there is some covert comparative marker count in Mandarin. And among the major motivation, something like 12. So if you look at the 12 below 12, so in Mandarin, most of the C in the rating is comparative rating. Bill is taller than some, say, an individual. And if we want to have a positive rating unambiguously, we have to add something like hen, the unstressed version of the particle. So Bill and tall. It means Bill is tall. So literally, hen means very, but the unstressed version does not trigger the very like meaning. Actually, there are some proposals in the Mandarin semantics literature. They claim actually hen is equivalent to English false. I will not go more into more detail about the assumption. It's adopted by many. I'll just follow it. And the second assumption associated with covert focus. That might sound a little bit strange because if it's focused, then it must be accented, or it tends to be accented. But associated with covert focus is nothing new actually. This is an example from Hyde. So Zhuang wants to count 2. According to Hyde, there's at least, there is one particular reading that is B. So wants it to be the case that he counts in addition to someone else. If this reading is real, then Zhuang, the added part of 2 associates with 4 instead of Zhuang. So associating with the covert focus is actually reported. But more relevantly, it's reported that scalar operators, this is what we are really interested in, can associate with covert degree modifiers. And more specifically, it's argued in the literature, Hebrew only like particle, bisa can associate with box, which is covert. And the even like particle, which are also Hebrew particle, can associate with the covert comparison plus argument of box. Yeah. So this is kind of like reporting. Our major proposal is that we suggest the geng can actually associate with the covert operator. And more specifically, the count here. If this is the case, then the original sentence, Bill then Zhuang and tall, Bill is even taller than Zhuang, will have something like 15. Bill then Zhuang and correct marker, tall. So it's focused here, and probably we assume, for example, the trigger alternative is some equation. So this is the pre-existent, and this is the alternative. If this is the case, then we apply our entry to this piece of data. We'll have the following interpretation. I'll just skip the formalization, read the pros. So if we assume the most salient gradable property G here is simply height, then we have this interpretation. Bill is taller in the P rows, where his height exceeds Zhuang's. The excess of Q and not P rows, where his height equals Zhuang's, but not exceeds Zhuang. This is trivially satisfied. This is nothing that really matters. But crucially, we have the evaluated presupposition. So viewing the possible in the axis of Q and not P worlds. And given the comparative presupposition here, it's already in the P worlds. And so it is also possible in the P worlds as well. This is non-trivial. So with these two interpretations, if they are defined, then we simply observe viewing order than jump in the world evaluation. So we have both evaluative and comparative flavor here. And if our proposal is true, I mean on the right track, it goes just even like that we should make one prediction. So internet particles are shown to trigger the so-called superlative scalar force in that the adjacent massification degree higher than all context relevant alternatives. Yeah. If this is true, then there is supposed to follow the pattern in both gradable and non-gradable cases. This seems to be the case here. So this is the case where you combine with non-gradable predicates conversation. It asks how many papers do your faculty members write? And the viewer replies, I'll just read it in English here. They all did grade Jim 3, view 6, grade 4, and it's even the case that John wrote 5. It's better with Geng and also with the default even in Mandarin. And I guess it's also better with English even here. This is because according to our proposal, if it's even, then there is some contextually salient, stronger authority. That's why it's bad. And also, if we combine with gradable predicates, the three guys are all tall. Among the below the tallest, Zhuang is very tall. And there's supposed to be gray here. Let's say grade even taller than Zhuang. This is heavily integrated with Mandarin Geng. And it's also explained because there are some, I mean, the tallest guy is below here. There are some salient, stronger alternative, and that's why. If going to merely compare marker and evaluating inference, it's particularly scalable to the unexplained. So our conclusion, yeah, we are going to evaluate the particle. We just need one unified account. If we adopt some independent motivation assumptions. Let's just stop here because actually I have a second part of parametric variation. I'll just show you in 10 seconds. So argue there are two parameters. One is this slide. Yeah. The other thing that with focus on the stored material. This is something actually interesting. So if you say in Hebrew, Russian, Mandarin, there are unmarked even-like particles, only-like particles, and unmarked particles are unable to associate with forward focus, but marked ones all able to associate with forward focus, but they associate with different focus. And then we have a second parameter that is so-called anaphoricity. Spanish, Hindi, and Russian are all reported to have at least two even-like particles, and they differ. So this is the second part. Thank you very much for listening. I hope it's not confusing. Thank you. Yeah, actually, you mean combined with gradable predicates and non-gradable predicates? Yeah, so actually, okay. Actually, we skipped something here. If we come to this place, we have gradable cases, and there are a lot of debates about how to have semantics for Mandarin comparatives. So argue actually just like if I make a mistake, just correct me, please. Individual versus I mean the causal versus the individual, like causal individual comparatives, and they argue that Mandarin only have individual comparisons. So, but here we implicitly about actually clause-based analysis of comparatives, just like English even, but this is controversial. And this has something to do with the issue we mentioned, like the semantic type of gradable versus non-gradable predicates. Yeah, so we need to think about this more because it's controversial. It's controversial. Yeah. And actually, if I have time, if you look closer, there is a crucial distinction between our proposal and the original one. In our proposal, both comparative rating and evaluated rating are presupposed, but original one, the comparative rating is 30. Actually, I have a Osamu-sawa, professor, because I'm very interested in your paper on motto, and your claim is compared to a marker with evaluated comparative rating. But on the regular rating, just like John told them, if my understanding is correct, the comparative rating is as issue. The evaluated rating is not the issue. But on the utterance-based, I mean, the values, the evaluated rating is, I mean, the status is reversed, if my understanding is correct. So I don't know whether this is general or this is language specific or, yeah, because, yeah, this is something I'm interested in actually. Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Always interesting to hear about even. I'm curious about this, the contextualized scales and the one that come from gradable predicates. Can context override the scale that come with gradable predicates?
You mean there might be overgeneration? You mean there might be, it's too flexible, it might be over.
No, when you have a scale that is provided by a gradable predicate, it seems that geng is sensitive to those scales, but can you use a sentence? Have you tested contexts in which the context would override that scale and allow you to have like, oh, spoken is small, but this one is even small. Because maybe in the context small is somehow better.
Actually, we have a particular slide for this. I get it. Sorry.
Oh, you have 58 slides.
It is here. So actually, there's a conversation. Let's say I asked the red. I said that red bus is leaving at 7. If we take it, we will get to the movie on time. What about the green one? So we check the schedule. The green one even leaves 5 minutes before 7. It's okay, but after 7, this is that. And this is also the case for them. If I actually tweak the context, like for example, the red bus is leaving like at 7. If we take it, then we will rush everything. It's too early. We could rush dinner or whatever else. In this context, then I think it's better to use after 7 instead of before 7. So the actual context information can change the scale and go insensitive to the context of information.
So iron is the same as in English, right?
Yeah, it can be translated with yeah, straightforward.
That's the one to fix that.
So, okay, covered. I have a question on the difference between a likelihood approach and your approach. Like you provide an example, like I forgot the example prototype, but touch versus skill is the likelihood approach cannot, I mean, predict that the sentence sounds okay, right? That's yes. Well, so I feel like you can explain the oddness from the maximum relevance or something. So like, if you are talking about dangerous, the scale of dangerous, touching is kind of irrelevant to danger, right? So that's why it doesn't make sense to compare touching people versus kill people, right? You can't compare them on the same,
in the scale, yeah.
In the scale, like it's outside of the relevance. I mean,
it means outside of the seed.
Yeah, outside of the center of the seed. Does that like make sense? From
actually, we can control this. So let me. Okay, here. So hitting someone and killing someone may be considered to make someone dangerous. This is reasonable, I think. And if we intentionally add something like a scalar only English, or they improvise one only 2 persons, and the other guy is the third person. So this is actually the value with them and the default given in Mandarin. So we intentionally portray someone as nothing serious, but not to make one really dangerous. But in this case, I think it is bad here. Of the two guys, one only hit person, and the other guy even killed persons. Like killing someone must be considered to make someone dangerous, but I don't know whether this responds to your reply.
That's okay, but the verb with touch, you provide an example with the verb with touch rather than hit. Did you provide? I forgot the number of your example, but according to the likelihood approach, that's I forgot the example, but
Here.
yeah, touch.
Yeah. Actually, we can also. Let's just take the example of the two guys, one each person or each person, and the other guy into the person. This is okay because killing someone can be considered to make someone dangerous. But if we intentionally add like only here, but only touch the person, it feels like only hitting the person. It feels like hitting someone is not dangerous. But then I guess it's bad. But I think this is compatible with our proposal that even is bad because it requires both the adjacent and the previous alternative to be about the center of some more. I think we see this. I think the same point with the co-orientation. I don't know if your understanding is incorrect. I mean, the orientation of the arguments. Yeah.
I mean, if you use but, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, sorry. There was another question.
Just a short question. I'm wondering about the syntactic status of the markup gong. So is it movable to other positions?
You mean like
he is forward.
You mean the scope issue? Can the particle can be moved to like sentence initial position?
Yeah, I mean rather an overt movement, like subject predicate.
This is possible. I know this is possible in English even Bill can party. But the gun, this is bad because in Mandarin in general, gun is something like the traditional adverb. An adverb in Mandarin has fixed conditions. It must be somewhere between the subject and the verb. So it's fixed. It cannot go so low to a position that is below the verb, and it cannot go so high after the subject. It's relatively fixed. So it's just there.
I'm wondering whether there is a possibility that and the predicate is actually like a morphological derivation rather than the syntax.
I've never thought about this before.
Yeah, it should be the case. I think the Harvard home would be maybe unnecessary. That's otherwise.
This time I will think about this more carefully. There are some proposals about like from the morphological perspective. Yeah, I'll look this down and think about this. Yeah.
Okay. So before ending this talk, there's another question in the chat, and I just read a question. Maybe you can answer to him or her afterwards, right? Many thanks for this talk. I'm really interested in this word, but I'm doubtful about the claim that geng is similar to evening, having a superlative. In Chinese, there's a saying, there's no best, only better. No sui hao best, only geng hao better. I feel that although the interpretation of geng sometimes bring a superlative effect, geng doesn't have an inherent superlative meaning. So let me try something. right back.
Yeah. We're familiar with each other. Okay, fine. Thank you very much.
So let's thank for this